please do not fall for this recent hype up that's been going on in the Pokemon market, which is people buying Korean and Chinese products and trying to hype them up and make them sound like they're much better than the English products or the Japanese ones, and just trying to squeeze as much profit out of them as possible. And I will explain why this is a very risky industry to get into, or like a field to get into within the Pokemon reselling business, and why I would advise not doing it for many reasons. Because I've seen it happen before, and I saw how that turned out in the last crash or bear market with Pokemon, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. So this is very important if you have been maybe leaning towards buying Chinese and Korean product, mainly the Chinese product, because there's been some like promos with them or in those products that people have been hyping up and looking after to buy to then flip in America. And if you're new here, I do have a Patreon with a link in the description if you want more help with buying and selling trading cards, and then also getting some inventory for your store at a discount. So if you're interested, check that out. But I've been noticing a lot of people like on Facebook and YouTube videos and some eBay listings where people are actually not the eBay listings, but people are hyping up these Chinese products. And I meant to say whatnot, not eBay, where they're trying to sell these Chinese products because English is so hard to get and it's so expensive. And then Japanese is also like a close second. Not close, but it's like the closest alternative. And with those prices being high as well, people look elsewhere for, accessible and affordable product, which makes sense as a collector. Like if you want to open packs just for fun and you like the artworks, then yeah, sure, try like get it in a different language and just have fun with it. But if you're looking at it as an investment or you're trying to flip these items and make a profit from it, just know that you're entering into a very risky side of things. And you can almost view it as like the stock market, like the S&P 500 is the English product, and then the Chinese and like even I would even argue Japanese products are like the penny stocks in a way. And I know Japanese products hold their value more, and the singles often have like pretty high value in certain areas. Not all the cards, but like some of them are pretty expensive. But the Chinese product, it's still very new. I think it only became really popular like a few years ago, and then slowed down, and then recently has been getting hyped up again with the Prismatic Evolutions version that came out in China, and then everyone's been selling it on Whatnot or they're doing it on Facebook. And one thing I heard that made a lot of sense and made me realize why it's not a good investment is because something Alpha Investments Rudy said, like someone asked him why he doesn't invest in Japanese Pokemon products or why he doesn't sell it to his patrons, and it was because something that he noticed, and he's been in this for like 25 years, or probably longer actually, but he's been selling online for like 15 years, I think. And he said, as soon as people stop buying English product, people for sure stop buying Japanese product, because one of the main reasons why people even buy Japanese product is because it's cheaper and it's easier to get a hold of since it's cheaper. So then once English becomes accessible and affordable, because people aren't, flipping it online for double the retail price, then those people start buying English product because it's just you can buy it now and you don't have to worry about paying so like such a high price. So then what that does to the Japanese product and the Chinese product now is that it just tanks, and there's such low demand that like there's no sales volume. And obviously you can still get sales if you're like fire selling it or selling it way below what you paid for. But for the most part, the prices tank and the volume of sales goes extremely low because so many people leave that market, and it's such a short term market, if that makes sense. And that's just for Japanese products. So just imagine how it would be with the new like hype with the Chinese product, because at least for Japanese, you could sell that on TCG Player now with them cataloging that inventory. But with Chinese cards, you're pretty much stuck with it, and it'll be extremely hard to sell that when so many people leave that part of the industry. Because as much it is as much as it is annoying to face, like the thing that drives up value of your investments is popularity and favorability in those products. So the more people that find a product favorable and think it will go up in the long term, the more valuable that product will be. So like battle styles, not many people like it, and barely anyone saw it as a good set, so you see that in the price. Granted, it's a $200 box now, but look at something that's favorable and that people like. Fusion Strike, Evolving Skies, and Lost Origin. Those are the top three sets of Sword and Shield, and the prices show for that. So getting more people into a product means that price will go up. And when you're thinking about investing in Chinese product, or you're thinking about focusing your store on Chinese product, you are scaling down to a much smaller field and like much smaller group, that it becomes hard for those products to go up in value and to even make a sale. Because even if something's worth $100 but nobody wants it, it's not going to sell for what it's worth. Like you're going to have to keep going lower in the price. So basically, what I want to advise to all of you is that if you are thinking about focusing like entirely on Chinese product, or me even Japanese product, I wouldn't advise focusing your whole store on. I know there are very successful stores like PokeNE. He does only Chinese or Japanese booster boxes, and he's been pretty successful with it. But I wouldn't advise most people doing it, because when a bear market comes, you will be the first ones to feel that downtick, and you will notice the drop in sales volume much faster than the English side. Because being in the US, obviously there's more people wanting to buy English product than there are people wanting to buy Japanese product. So then you're just cutting yourself short, and you're focusing on like a much harder to sell to audience. And the other thing is, like, at least with English product, and people are buying it in the US, your shipping is the cheapest it can be. But people from Japan are not going to be buying Japanese product from someone in the US, because they will for sure find a cheaper price from someone in Japan, and they'll find it being shipped quicker, and everything else would just be more, it would make more sense for them to buy it from someone in Japan than someone in the US. So there again, you're just like making it harder to sell to. And another thing is, most likely for international orders, it'll probably be easier for someone to buy from someone in Japan. If they're in like Europe or anywhere else in the world, it'll probably be easier to buy from Japan than it would be to buy from the US. But even then, I still think English product around the world is more popular than the Japanese or the Chinese product. But let me know your thoughts down below. I'm just saying my opinion. Obviously, if you want to do it, go for it, like try it out. But all I want to say is, and advise you, is just don't over leverage and focus so much on something that doesn't have as much history with it and isn't as proven as something like English product and Japanese product. And just realize that just because it's selling like very well right now, nobody knows if that will continue happening for the next few years or even the next few months. Because with everything that's been happening with the market, you never know what's going to happen. So just make sure you're always making the most informed decisions and viewing things on a bigger scale, rather than seeing like what's happening right now and assuming that will continue happening forever. Because if that was the case, then Scarlet Violet Base and Paldea Evolved would have never been cheap, because it would have just carried on with Sword and Shield and then kept going up with Scarlet Violet. But we all know that didn't happen, and things slow down, of course, and then they go up and then they go down. Like there's always flows in the market. And obviously, or actually, I want to hear from anyone that has been selling Chinese product, and let me know how it's been for you. Because like I've been seeing it all over on Whatnot and TikTok Shop. A lot of like the more weird, I guess, I don't know a better word, but like weird places to sell and buy stuff on. I've been noticing it there, but like eBay, I haven't really been noticing it as much. And sometimes on Facebook, I've been seeing some posts, but more so TikTok Shop and whatnot. I've been seeing a lot of people sell them there. Yeah, let me know in the comments how it's been for you guys, and then also let me know if you agree or disagree. Yeah, thank you all for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe if you want, and I'll see you all in the next video.